Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Alien Covenant? Stick around and find out. Bum ba ba da 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 ba. Oh, I had this on the wrong side. Ba ba ba. Bum ba ba da ba da ba. That's what you want, right? That's what you want, everybody? All right, you got it. I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Alien Covenant. All right, the synopsis on IMDb reads, the crew of the colony ship Covenant, bound for a remote planet on the far side of the galaxy, discovers what they think is an uncharted paradise, but is actually a dark, dangerous world. When they uncover a threat beyond their imagination, they must attempt a harrowing escape. Okay, let's try that again. The crew of the, let's say, the something space truck tanker ship, blah, 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 bound for a remote planet on the far side, or bound for home, we'll say, coming from the far side of the galaxy, discovers what they think is something that's not dangerous, but is actually a dark, dangerous world. When they uncover a threat beyond their imagination, they must attempt a harrowing escape. That was the plot to the first Alien movie, okay? I just swapped out a few words, and you got the plot to Alien Covenant. I loved Prometheus. I really enjoyed that movie. I wanted a continuation of that story. Each Alien movie, I think, has brought something unique to the series. Now, we definitely got to know that creature, I feel like, from head to toe by the end of the second movie, but each one brought something different in terms of what type of movie it was. You know, the first one was like, that was Alien, that was like a horror movie, okay? Second one was like sci-fi action, you know, with definitely horror as well. The third one, a little more back to its horror roots, but it was also this just kind of weird conceptual type of sci-fi movie, you know, and dealt with kind of like these more philosophical type of themes, or at least vibes, you know, if they didn't, you know, really play around with themes in a straightforward way. And then in the fourth one, it was creepy and disturbing rather than like being scary and like a horror movie. It was this disturbing kind of weird, I don't know, French vibe or whatever. I don't know exactly what was going on with that, but there was something kind of fresh. It was apples and oranges with each one of those movies. And this is the first one, you know, like all of the Alien movies up to this point, with the exception of, say, like the spin-offs like Alien versus Predator stuff, I feel like each of the Alien movies was made to serve a creative vision. And this movie, for the first time, largely felt made to serve business decisions after the somewhat negative response that Prometheus got. Business decisions that result in a plot that felt to me forced back to a safer direction for the folks who just want to see that same alien again for the umpteenth time. So the folks that want to see that alien again, they don't want these weird new alien ideas. They just want, give us the alien, give us the face huggers. They're getting it. They're getting it. Not through the whole movie. The story, in many ways, retraces, I think, the plot skeleton of the original Alien. I don't want to make too much of that because I didn't really notice that happening until at some point in the middle, or especially toward the end of the movie. So it definitely has a lot of different flavors of meat on its bones, but I mean, I can see that, a very similar structure there. And it forces a resolution to the Prometheus plotline, along with this kind of jarring course change. Many people might think of it as a course correction. I'm just going to say a course change. For my taste, it's not going in a direction I wanted it to go. The first half of the movie was great for me. I felt tense. My jaw dropped at some of the horrifying character deaths, just like horrible stuff happening to people. There was weird body horror and different. It wasn't the same classic xenomorph for that first half hour. It was like other weird stuff, something that was kind of like a xenomorph, and other bad things happening to people's bodies because of alien weirdness. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for each next moment that was going to be coming and wondering, oh my gosh, where's this whole thing going? It was great stuff. And then the second half of the movie, somewhere around in there, it brought this abrupt, hard turn resolution, I guess, is what they're going for, to the Prometheus plot. Michael Fassbender's, Foss or Fass, I'm not sure, but his android David character returns. But has taken, I think, a sharp turn away from who he was as an individual and in his relationship, especially to Dr. Shah. I don't think it's completely out of character. I can see this as like where his character would go, and this story does take place 10 years later, but especially in where they left his relationship with Dr. Shah at the end of Prometheus to where we find out it went, in this one, I'm just like, man, that does not feel like this organic advancement of what was going on between those two characters in Prometheus. So that was a bummer. Dr. Shah is not in this movie at all. There is a reveal of what happened to her, and I found it extremely unsatisfying, and I felt robbed of the rest of her story that I felt like was intended to be told before Prometheus kind of got negative responses to it. It definitely seemed like it was going to continue her story after Prometheus. And so this does not feel like it is growing out of the original creative vision. It feels like it's a response to, it's business. It feels like business. And then after that rough course change and the story reveals that come along with it, the final third of the movie brings back the classic alien and the face huggers that I guess people missed in Prometheus. But for me, monster movies are about the mystery of the monster and the slow reveal of this unknown creature. It's about fear of the unknown, especially at the beginning, and then slowly we learn more and more, and our jaws drop further and further as we discover really the degree to which this creature is messed up and jacked up and horrifying and very capable of killing anything it comes across. So that's a big part of monster movie experiences for me. But the problem is, I know this creature. I've known it from, like I said, I feel like from head to toe by the end of the second Alien movie. And that's why what made the Alien movies after that interesting was that the setting or the story kind of went in some weird and unusual directions. Otherwise, I think I would have been disappointed with them just recycling the same creature and not revealing anything new about it. So my one hope for the series is the fact that, no spoilers, they leave things in an interesting place that has potential, I think, for where the next movie will start and go from there. It won't necessarily be creative and interesting, but it certainly has potential. Like, if they pick up in the next movie right where they leave off, or if there is a sequel to this, because I think the next one's going to pick up with the Sigourney Weaver character again, and they're going to retcon, destroy the continuity of the third and fourth Alien movie or something. But anyway, when they come back to the characters that survived this story, I think they're being left in a potentially very interesting place. Anyway, but I mean, if they do still, even on top of that, keep using the same creature over and over again, and in the same ways, like I would be open to using the same creature if it evolves in some way, if it changes, if it adapts biologically in some way and makes it less predictable in terms of what it's capable of, or I don't want to have it jump the shark. That's hard territory to get into because it could easily jump the shark if you just keep stacking new powers on top of it or something like that. But man, if they could find a way to keep revealing things about this Alien, or at least take the story in just some radically creative and interesting directions, which is what I thought Prometheus was, but maybe with the classic Alien missing as well, it was just too much of a departure for some people. Anyway, if they don't do something to kind of change it up and keep changing it up, I think I'm totally going to lose interest in this series, which is a real bummer for me. As far as the cast, I want to say that I thought it was a great cast. The first hour has some really nice character stuff that gave them a chance to perform, and the groundedness of that character stuff, it reminded me of the first Alien movie that had all these kind of grounded characters. There was improvisation and stuff going on in the filming of the first movie that I don't think was really present here, but these were still grounded character performances compared to a lot of the other Alien movies. And when the characters to me feel more real, like people I've maybe met or could meet, then the horror feels more real. So I really appreciated that. As far as the stunts and visuals, the Ridley Scott production quality is here in full force throughout the whole movie. The great sets, great visual effects and practical effects, and a nice blend of the two that keeps me kind of guessing a little bit. And especially in some of like these horrible deaths that characters experience, they're using a lot of practical effects too, and it makes it all the more like disturbingly real feeling, so I really appreciated that. And even in the what was for me the disappointing second half of the movie, the visual design, just the world, and looking at the world and the things in it and the people in it and stuff like that, just the way it all looked and the vibe that I was picking up from the world, it kept me engaged. And so big props go to Ridley Scott for his direction throughout the movie, even if for me the story fell short. All right, so I always try to ask myself, when I'm watching entertainment or playing entertainment or whatever, is there anything of worthwhile moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance that might result in worthwhile conversation or thought as a result, of taking in the entertainment? And I don't know. I mean, I think there's like things that potentially could, but I don't feel like the ideas are quite explored enough to really say anything significant that we could, react to, committing to any, really strong kind of ideas that we could react to. Let's see, there is a return to the Prometheus movies' questions about origins of life, and specifically the nature of our creator, or as they establish in Prometheus, creators, the idea that humanity was created ultimately by an alien race. But these themes are only touched on again rather than really explored, because they're part of that, I think, that plot that they wanted to get out of the way as soon as possible before Prometheus put that to rest and get on with the more classic Alien type of movie. So that, that whole illogical planet seeding thing to try to reduce God to, being an alien race or an alien being or something like that, that's still part of the continuity, but it's not strong because they're really trying to just, okay, we got to touch on this, but let's get it out of the way as quick as we can. That's kind of what it feels like. Billy Crudup, or Crudup, I'm not sure how you say his name, Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. He plays a captain in this movie who immediately inherits his rank when the assigned captain dies. And that's not a spoiler because it happens before we even get a good look at the assigned captain's face, And so his character is really insecure, and he's not ready for the position. We've seen these kind of characters before. They kind of they're in a position of power, but they're insecure, and so they kind of try to take too much control of things, and they kind of go the route of the spineless villain as opposed to like the evil villain. They're the spineless villain who eventually gets their own in the end because of all the trouble that they cause people throughout the movie. And that's what I thought they were going to go in, especially when he revealed himself as a person of faith, and described how he felt like people of faith in this world, in this setting, are treated like lunatics who can't think reasonably or logically. And yet logic and reason are high values of his, even if he sometimes can't tell when it's his insecurities are actually taking control, and he's maybe trying to put forth the idea that he's thinking logically, but it's actually his insecurities that are in the driving seat, the driver's seat. That's how you say that, right? Anyway, so I thought, are they gonna just kind of make him the spineless, pain in the butt character, and portray him just as what he feared, as this kind of like lunatic, illogical guy or whatever. But he was actually handled more fairly and complexly than that. Complexly? Is that a word? Jeez. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, so I'm ready to be done. Anyway, he actually has some admirable moments despite his obvious built-in character flaws. And so he was an interesting character to watch, and his faith is even respected and valued at one point as an important commodity by another character. So, I thought it was an interesting treatment of that character. All right, well, I have no idea what your tastes are. Hopefully, you'll totally get what you want out of this experience. But if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, skip this one and buy it when it kind of gets a little cheap. Doesn't have to be bargain bin cheap, but about like $10 off the full price or $5 off the, when it's kind of on sale-ish, because it's one you're going to want to have because the first hour is awesome and you're going to want to own it just for the first hour alone. It's got those great Ridley Scott production values that take you through the whole movie, but the story's going to fall flat for you big time right about halfway through, making this one that you can wait on watching until you need to watch it to catch up on whatever the next Alien movie is that picks up where this one leaves off. It's rated R for sci-fi violence, bloody images, language, and some sexuality/nudity. And I'll add, because it's something that I'm sensitive to and I would want to know, it's very brief nudity. You'll miss it if you blink. So there you have it. That's my thoughts on Alien Covenant. I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments below. What else? Oh, please do like, share, and subscribe if you like this video and want to share it with other people and want more videos like it. That's how you make those things happen. Visit spiritblade.com. We've got a weekly podcast there where I share my thoughts on all kinds of geeky things, as well as we go through a weekly Bible study. We're going through verse by verse, chapter by chapter, the book of Ephesians right now, and seeing what's in there specifically for geeks. So that's a study that I don't put up on YouTube, but you can check out through our podcast, the Spirit Blade Underground podcast, which you can get on iTunes or at spiritblade.com. Also, there's a ton more content and community over at christiangeekcentral.com. So I hope you'll join us there soon as we continue to geek out and seek the truth.